Who would have thought a plain cliff, under this man's skillful hands, would transform into a cozy wilderness home? Not only does it house one man and two dogs comfortably, but it also features a constantly heating fireplace, even with a blizzard raging outside. The man inside remains leisurely and comfortable. Art, a frequent wilderness hiker, set off into the mountains after the snow stopped. Climbing up the slope, he found a natural cliff face. Although the terrain is steep, the massive rock overhead makes for an excellent shelter. With the campsite selected, Art didn't hold back his builder's instinct. He began clearing the piles of fallen leaves until the bare ground was revealed. He took out his shovel to level the uneven surface, making it easier to build the walls later. After leveling the ground, Art took his saw to the snowy woods nearby. He selected some dry logs as his main building material. Once he had gathered enough wood to build the walls faster, he cut all the logs into short sections. This way, he could stack them along the rock face, building the walls layer by layer. Considering stability and the entrance space, Art propped up a pillar under the rock overhang. Then he continued stacking the log sections, occasionally filling gaps with sand to reduce drafts between the wood. When the wall was half done, he found a hollow log in the dry riverbed. He cut off two small sections with his handsaw and placed them into the wall to serve as windows. After finishing this task, the long work left him a bit tired. So he took his kettle to a nearby water source, but due to the sudden temperature drop, the once flowing waterfall had frozen into thick icicles, like a natural ice sculpture. With no other choice, he chipped off some ice to take back. Back at camp, Art quickly chopped some kindling, lit a bonfire in the clearing, and placed the kettle full of ice on it. To heat slowly, while the water boiled, he continued working on the unfinished walls. As the side walls reached halfway, the water in the kettle began to boil. Art took a moment to enjoy his tea and rest in front of the door. After resting, he finished sealing the remaining wall parts. Then he went to a towering ancient tree and gathered moss from its trunk. He stuffed it into the gaps between the logs. This stops cold wind from entering and makes the shelter warmer. With that solved, Art leveled the threshold in front of the door. He cut a few sturdy logs, sharpened one end, and drove them into the ground. Connecting them with a long log, he created a sturdy railing. As for the main door, he fixed a lintel between the pillars, using an auger to drill holes, and crafting suitable tenons. He joined them perfectly. After that, he built a matching door frame wrapped in plastic, filling the middle with dry leaves. Provided excellent insulation. With the door sealed, he didn't forget to seal the windows with plastic film to... Once that was done, Art installed a wood stove in the corner to ensure a warm and cozy night. The shelter was now complete. Finally, he moved the hot coals into a hollow stump. Once it was burning well, he started preparing dinner. He cut chicken breast into chunks and put them in the pot, stewing them slowly with water. Once cooked, he divided it evenly. This was dinner for the dogs. After settling them, Art began preparing his own dinner. He minced the beef he brought, added chopped onions and breadcrumbs, and sprinkled in some seasoning. Mixing it well, he formed patties. and pan-fried them over low heat. Once cooked, he enjoyed a delicious meal. Full and satisfied, he laid out his blanket inside. He lay down with his dogs, ending this fulfilling day with a good sleep. In the mountains at the start of winter, thick ice had already formed. With time on his hands, old Jong went to the mountain behind his home, planning to build a secret base just for himself. Crossing a slowly flowing stream, a natural cliff face appeared before him. The spacious area inside immediately caught old Jong's attention, so he chose this as his campsite. Before remodeling, he first had to clear the surrounding weeds and bushes. As the view opened up, the land revealed its long-hidden face. Next, he began leveling the uneven ground to create a flat living space. Fortunately, being under the giant rock, sheltered year-round, the soil was relatively soft, making old Jong's digging much easier. Once the space below was widened, he went to the riverbank. There were endless flat stones here. After a few collection trips, he had enough building materials. Old Jong mixed some clay by the river and dug a foundation hole for a pillar. With preparations done, he found a dead log, washed up by floods on the bank. He took it back, cut it to size, and stripped off the bark. He placed it in the hole and packed soil around it to secure it. With a sturdy pillar in place, old Jang paved stones in the clearing, planning to build a continuous heating fireplace. This way, no matter how bad the weather outside, it wouldn't be too cold inside. With layers of stone and clay rising up, a neat and sturdy stove base was formed. Next, he narrowed the opening upward to build the chimney. After finishing this, to check the results, old Jong gathered some dry wood, lit the fire quickly, and tested the stove's draft. Seeing smoke rise from the chimney, he continued digging the remaining holes. Since the back is the rock face, he only needed to dig holes for the front row. Although the pillars can't support the massive rock, they define the shelter's specific framework. Considering wood rots easily on soil, he used stones for the base. This strengthens the foundation and makes the interior floor look relatively neater and more beautiful. With that done, unlike other builders, he didn't continue with the walls immediately. Instead, he gathered more wood, planning to build the interior furniture first. He stripped all the bark off the logs, cut them to the required lengths, and carved notches at measured spots. Then he assembled them in order, finally joining them together. He created a perfect solid wood bed. With the sleeping area settled, a practical table and chair set was needed. Using the same method, he notched the logs and assembled them. Soon, he had a complete set of furniture. Before the sun set, old Jong took his tools to the brush to prepare wood for the walls. This task would take some time, as he had to split the logs in half and peel them. Once he had enough wood, Old Jong cut them to length and nailed them up layer by layer. The process was relatively simple, but consumed a lot of nails. By the time the sky grew dark, he had finished one wall. Early the next morning, Old Jong continued building the remaining walls. Every step proceeded in an orderly manner to ensure no issues with the shelter. During the process, he left spaces for the door and window. Then, measuring the dimensions, he assembled a suitable door panel and window frame, installing them perfectly. Once the shelter was fully built inside and out, Old Jong cleaned up the debris. He lit the fireplace inside. Now, in this deep forest, he had a place to call home. Satisfied, he brought out his ingredients, starting the most anticipated part of the day. He skewered mini sausages, roasted them in the fire until crispy, and ate them with onions and bread. Full, he brewed a cup of tea, sitting outside, drinking tea and enjoying the view. Life couldn't be better. With winter arriving, Ah Chung returned to his beloved wilderness. Crossing the snow-covered twisted forest, he found an ancient giant rock. Its overhang made a great shelter. With a little modification, it would serve as tonight's camp. Ah Chung started work immediately. He first leveled the ground simply, then took out his hand saw. He went into the snowy woods to collect sturdy logs as the main support pillars. Thanks to the rock overhang, fixing the pillars was easy. He just wedged them firmly between the ground and rock. Once the main frame was set, he stacked logs to build the walls according to size. For stability, he chose thick logs, which increased the difficulty. After finishing one wall, to ensure a sleeping area for the night, Ah Kong built a simple bed frame inside, laid logs across it, and topped it with pine branches. This made a comfortable wooden bed. With the bed done, and before dark, he quickly finished the remaining walls. Since he had prepared enough wood, he could focus on the task. When the last wall was done, considering the poor indoor light, Ah Chung cut a window opening. For the remaining open spots, he filled them with stones. Next, he climbed onto the rock and found plenty of moss under the snow. This is natural caulking material, perfect for sealing gaps in the walls. Ah Chung gathered a large pile. To improve efficiency, he made a small wooden tool to help stuff the moss tightly between the logs. After every crack was filled, Ah Chung split some straight sticks to make a door panel. He installed it at the entrance and sealed it with moss too. Now, he didn't have to worry about wild beasts. With the door done, the window followed. Once everything was installed, the wilderness shelter was complete. Considering the harsh mountain weather, Ah Chung took out his portable stove and placed it in the corner. This ensured a comfortable environment, so he wouldn't freeze at night. Satisfied, he lit a torch inside, collapsed onto the bed in exhaustion, and drifted into dreams. At dawn the next day, Ah Chong went home for a brief rest, then found a clearing to build a new shelter. He collected many logs and stripped the bark to prevent rot and insects. Due to the weather, to keep the wood off the wet ground, he built a simple rack and stacked the peeled logs on it. Then, construction officially began. He gathered stones from around, cleared a flat spot with a shovel, and laid out the shelter's base with logs. He nailed the joints securely. Then he fixed vertical posts of equal length to create the main frame. As the logs were joined, the frame quickly took shape. Ah Chong collected thin branches and fixed them to the top as roof beams. This was easy work. Next, he brought a bucket of crushed soil. Combining stones and soil, he built the walls, layer by layer. He covered them with soil to ensure they were airtight. As the lower walls finished, Ah Chong decided to use wood for the rest. Building higher with stones would be unsafe. He continued using moss to seal the gaps, ensuring warmth inside. With the walls done, Ah Chong took out a waterproof tarp and covered the roof perfectly. He laid moss on top of that. This improved the look. And added insulation. With the roof done, he used clear plastic for the window. He also installed a stove to keep the night warm. With the exterior done, Ah Chong started on the interior. Since the ground was damp, he laid a wooden floor to keep it dry. The entrance was muddy too, so he paved that as well. After that, Ah Chong made a wooden door. Making the shelter perfect. Next, he took a log, split it into 4 equal stakes, and placed them in the corners. He connected them with sticks to make the bed frame. Finally, he stapled on a moisture-proof mat. A soft, comfortable bed was ready. With that, this riverside shelter was successfully completed. That's all for this video. Creating content isn't easy, so please support me. Thanks again, everyone.